Yeah, I'd just like to follow up a little bit on Friday's meeting. And I think we usefully collected a lot of information on people's experiences with voting. And I think we'll look forward to, I don't know if I see it on the agenda, but I'm hoping it will be part of the city's attorney's report, a bit of a summary of what we heard. And then we'll figure out what we'll do next. So that was helpful, but I couldn't help but notice that there seemed to be a large number of people who came Friday, perhaps not fully understanding what the purpose of that meeting was, but the sense that I got, and from communications that I received, is that there were a lot of people who wanted to talk about the bond issue. I mean, when we've asked the community, hey, what do you think about going into debt for quite a large amount of money to make changes in the community? There's a whole range of feelings about it. There's a range of feelings about how the process went, and you know, what things could be improved, what things could be changed. I guess Friday was not the right opportunity to do that, but I do think it's very important that we as a commission recognize that a lot of people turned out. That was a big turnout for commission meetings, and I think we should commit to some sort of a forum that we can learn from what the community has expressed. Given that it was roughly a 50-50 vote, and we put quite a bit of effort into encouraging people to vote, and there was in fact a good turnout, and we made it pretty clear that the city was hoping that it would pass. I think a 50-50 vote tells you that we're not there yet on coming up with a plan that's ready to have widespread support. So I think it's an opportunity for us to reach out to the community and ask for input and say, well, what can we do better? And try to learn from it. So I hope that my fellow commissioners will propose a time that we do that, and a mechanism, and make sure that people know about it, so that we can start the process of finding a better way to do some of the things that I think there's widespread feeling we do need to do. We just need to do them in a way that we all, that a lot of people can get behind.
Vice Mayor?
Thank you. The highlight of my last couple of weeks has been the opportunity I had to participate in a meeting in Boca, hosted and brought together by Congressman Deutsch and Congressman Frankel, regarding the sober house issue that is plaguing a lot of the coastal communities here in South Florida. As you know, here in Lake Worth, we suffer from having what we believe to be an inordinate amount of sober homes, many of which, I guess by their appearances, where you would wonder if they're really sober homes, or they're just really, there's another business model in play. But the bottom line is there's a lot of abuses of the insurance industry through this type of business model. And the bottom line is there's a real burning fear out there that a lot of folks that are being treated are not exactly getting what they're looking for. So there were about 60 elected officials and community leaders from South Florida, primarily Palm Beach and Broward County. There were a few folks from Miami. And we just kind of brainstormed as to what, if anything, we could look to in the near future in terms of regulation or oversight to get a better grip on who these sober house operators are and whether or not they are in fact providing the services that they're intended to be providing. And I'm really thankful that the Congresswoman and the Congressmen were able to do this, because my sense has been in talking to Congress members and even some senators that there really isn't a high awareness in Washington about this issue. And the issue, I think, is born largely through an exploitation of opportunities of some of the regulations that have been handed down at the federal level over the last 20 or, well, 40 years, I guess. More specifically, the ADA regulations that were handed down in the early 90s, and some of the Fair Housing Act regulations that have been brought in the last 40 or 50 years. So we're finding that a lot of these operators are hiding behind these regulations, and they're being able to skirt direct contact, if you will, with the local municipalities. We don't know who they are. We don't know what they're doing. We don't really have an opportunity to find out if they're operating a safe and sanitary facility. So we're really brainstorming at this point to figure out what Washington can do to start looking at the ADA regulations and the FHA regulations to find out if we can tighten those regulations in such a way that we don't get away from the mission for which those regulations were intended, but we also create a mechanism that precludes abuses of the system. So for those of you who are actively interested in this issue, if you want to reach out to me, I'd be happy to talk to you about this. Perhaps you'd like to come along for the next meeting that we're going to have and share your experiences. But I think you're going to see a higher level of activity, not only in Washington, but in Tallahassee. There seems to be a real commitment now from some of our local legislators to get something done in Tallahassee. So I think we're going to see a joint effort between Tallahassee and Washington to see a better end product, if you will, or a better process that folks can set up sober homes in our communities that are safe, that are sanitary, and are actually performing the services and the treatment that they are intended to provide. So it's a hot issue, and like I said, for those folks out there who are interested in it, please get in touch with me, and I'd be happy to include you in on the correspondence, bring you to the meetings, etc. That's all I have.
Commissioner Zerdy?
Thank you, Mayor. I am fortunate to be the liaison with the NAPC, and we had a meeting this last Saturday, well attended. They always are, and they're a lot of fun because it does give me a chance to listen to exactly what's going on in the different neighborhoods. So, and I guess we benefited Friday night from getting ice buckets pumped on our heads. Helped to raise a little bit of money. But the first anniversary was last Friday night for the front porch, which was a great thing, and it's going to continue on to be such. Another thing that I did learn and I thought was important was the College Park set up a neighborhood watch now, which was very challenging for a lot of neighborhoods themselves, but this is a kind of an association watch. And so it's setting a template for the rest of the city to follow, where you'll see some of these signs going up all around there, and it's a really great thing. So I encourage the rest of the neighborhood associations, which seemed like there was good reception to do that. And they don't only take the lead for volunteering and helping in many different ways, as you saw Greg point out tonight, but they really do help out where the city's strapped in certain ways. They get out there and really show them really proud to be a part of that, especially in Bryant Park. Another thing that, to kind of piggyback a little bit there on Commissioner McVoy is, you know that Commissioner Amoroso gets out there and we do a lot of cleanups and all in different neighborhoods from time to time. The beach cleanup was tremendous a couple weeks ago. Since we're challenged of coming up with a solution there with the bond issue, and we can't seem to be fixing up our sidewalks, I am putting together some monies. We're going to be getting some pressure washers. And so when we're out there cleaning up some of the neighborhoods, we're going to pressure wash the sidewalks. So if we can't fix them right now, we're going to clean them. And so that's, keep your eyes open for some of that to go on until we can really figure out how to get more done. So I'm just happy to bring that to another level of awareness of what we got going on in the city. Thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner Mercer?
Beach cleanup. We had a phenomenal beach cleanup last week. Over 130 volunteers showed up, some are which are here tonight. Mary, Mark, thank you. Peggy, thank you. Tammy, Wes Blackman, thank you. Again, 130 people showed up for our beach cleanup. That's huge. A lot of the schools, Lake Worth High School, brought a couple of the teams. David Silvers came out, so it was just a great turnout. Evening on the Avenues, all new Evening on the Avenues. I want to thank our new events coordinator, Dottie Carson. Great event. Also, the President's Council was there with their 1-year anniversary. Thank you. We attended our dedication 91 today at the fire department. Brand new truck, bringing better service to the community, better safety. So that's huge. And then Also, Senator Frankel was here last week with her town hall meeting. A lot of great updates and, what's that?
Congressman.
Oh, council. What'd I say, Senator? She was giving us great updates and telling us what's going on. So we'll be bringing more of that. I think Mr. Maxwell touched a little bit on sober homes, and that's a huge problem here. So we'll be moving forward with that. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say, I haven't had a conversation with the Chamber of Commerce, but I'm very disappointed about the Tropical Triathlon being canceled. It's been a fixture and a real important event here within our city. On top of that, I wasn't even notified of its cancellation beforehand when they made that decision, so I just want to state on the record that I'm upset about it, and I'm hoping to have a meeting with them sometime in the near future to find out what their intentions are in regards to some of the events here in the city. I was going to talk about Congresswoman Frankel, so thank you very much for tackling that one. Thank you to my Vice Mayor and Commissioner Zerdy for not letting me be alone when I got doused with very cold ice water from a large bucket. And if you see the pictures, Tammy, I saw one of your pictures. It was so funny because you see the water coming down. It was like this giant flatbed truck with ice with these buckets on top of it. And the Vice Mayor's on one side, and as you watch the picture, the water's coming down to the right side of him. Commissioner Zerdy's on the other side. The water's coming down to the left side of him. And then there's me in the middle, and it's pouring right down on top of my head. It was quite cold, but it was actually really hot that night, so it felt really good. But thank you to everyone for joining again. Kudos to Dottie and
Great band.
and thank you to Commissioner Amoroso for bringing me a baseball cap that I immediately put on right after that. But thank you everyone for coming out, and what a good time, and just the start of many. So thank you all very much. Alrighty, public participation of non-agenda items and consent agenda. Sorry.
Just one little short one that I forgot about. I received again recently some requests on traffic calming. It's an area that I've heard about before, and I've had requests from other areas in the city for traffic calming for a number of years. I'd just like to reiterate to my colleagues here that I suspect they hear some about that in various parts of the city that they're more familiar with also. Or maybe not, I don't know, but I certainly have heard about it consistently, and I know that there's quite a level of frustration in the community in some of those areas that they've asked repeatedly and nothing seems to happen. So I hope that we can elevate that a little bit more and try to do something to help out, because that is a safety issue, it's a quality of life issue for people who are on some of those roads, and I hope that we can move with some concrete steps.
We have capital improvements on the list, which are regular items that are in our budget to fix roadway issues. So we'll be talking about that, and just in reference to what you said earlier too, we're gonna have discussions because, you know, the roads need to be fixed, they're not gonna get any better, so we have to have in-depth conversations, and I don't want anyone to be misled in the sense that we've been talking about fixing the roads and our plans to fix the roads for over 2 years. All right, it wasn't a conversation that just came in the last 6 weeks or 3 months. We've been talking about having public meetings for over 2 years. And there have been over 30 meetings in addition to neighborhood meetings. So the public has always been invited to be a part of this process and has always been invited to, and we have numerous meetings. So we're gonna need to come up with new meetings and new ideas and come up with other solutions to fix the roadways, because they're not gonna get any better, they're gonna get worse. So let's work on it together, but don't be thinking that the public hasn't had a voice in this issue, because they have for over 2 years, and we have the minutes and the meetings to show that. So I just wanna state that for the record. Peter Tim, followed by Loretta Sharp.